We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and get going into the agenda. Our first item of business is we do need to adopt the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
The motion has been made and seconded to adopt the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next thing we need to do is approve the minutes from June 3rd, which are attached in the packet.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll go ahead and get into new business. One note, on the second case today, I will be recusing myself as I do have personal interest in that one. So I'll be walking down into the audience and facing the gauntlet. The first case today, case number TBD, the Towers LLC special use permit. Stuart Squire has submitted an exploratory application on behalf of the Towers LLC and Madison Wood Preservers for a special use permit for a new wireless communication facility on property identified as Madison County Tax Map 48-25 in accordance with Madison County Zoning Ordinance 14-13. The property is 1.7 acres GIS and is zoned R1. Alan, you go a little more detail?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So for this application, the subject of this property is along Highway 29, close to town. It is on property owned by the Madison Wood Preservers and is located near where they store their fence posts that we are familiar with along North Frontage Road. In your packet is a very thorough site plan that illustrates where the site is and what they'd like to build. There are a couple of nuances about the site plan that we should discuss going forward, but I think that it might be appropriate to let the applicant go ahead and speak and let us know exactly what they're asking for, and then we can break down some of the questions we have and some of the things that the ordinance requires as a part of this application. It's also worthwhile noting that we have engineer, or I'm sorry, the attorney for the project. I called you the engineer, but she's online in the back there, so she can chime in as needed, and let's say, and we can go from there. So, unless you have immediate questions for me, I'd like to invite the applicant to speak.
Thanks, Alan.
Hi, good morning. Stuart Squire. I'm a land use consultant representing Verizon Wireless. So this project is, the coverage goal is the town of Madison. Verizon currently has equipment on all of the surrounding existing facilities. We've got a site known as Shelby that's at the fairgrounds to the south. And we have another site known as Zeus that's about 3 miles to the north. And those are shown on the map here. When I first discussed this project with Mr. Nichols, the issue that we discussed then was, why isn't Verizon looking at that Hoover Ridge tower that the county owns? And we did look at that. Unfortunately, it's just too close to our existing Shelby site in order to meet the coverage goal of covering the town of Madison and offloading traffic from those two existing sites. So the site that we are proposing to develop is on property owned by Madison Wood Preservers. It is on the east side of North Frontage Road, east of 29. We are proposing a 125-foot tall monopole facility. It will be topped with a 4-foot lightning rod, so our request is for 129 feet overall height. It will be visible above the existing trees on that property, but otherwise it's a completely wooded lot. We will keep all of the trees in place except for those that we need to clear to develop the facility. It will be accessed by a new 12-foot wide gravel access drive from North Frontage Road And then I believe the monopole center is about 60 feet inside the property. And that's to avoid a creek that cuts across it. We want to stay out of that wetland area and then preserve as much of the trees around it as possible to act as a screening buffer. The tower will not be lighted, and the lower height will also serve to reduce the visibility of this project from the town. That's the broad strokes of it, so I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any more specific details that you'd like.
Yeah, I've got a bunch. We're sitting in the town of Madison right now. I have Verizon service, and I've got 3 bars sitting inside this room. And if I go outside, I think I have 4. So I have full coverage from Verizon now. So why is this necessary?
Sure.
Again,
Yes, sir. The goal of this project is to enhance the capacity of the network in the area. Our existing sites are experiencing overloaded traffic. This new facility will take traffic off of those sites so that they can serve the area around them better, as well as also cover and provide more capacity here in the town.
so what in the world happens, you go to a UVA football game, you've got 60,000 people. At halftime, everybody jumps on their cell phone, right? Everybody. What, they must be surrounded with towers in order to handle that.
There actually is a special system at UVA Stadium that's known as a distributed antenna system, a DAS.
Mhm.
And so there are actually a series of antennas all around the stadium. I'm not an expert on exactly what they have there.
Right.
But it's a little bit different network architecture than you would find deployed in a more rural area where there's not quite as much density as that.
Right, understood. So I think, Brian, we have about, 30,000 cars go through Madison on 29 a day, probably? somewhere along-
Probably.
Huh?
Probably.
Something like that. Okay, so I'm just looking, and that's intermittent, of course, not 30,000 all at one time. But, okay, well, let's see, so let me go through the ones. So 14-13-6C says that the max height is 125 feet, but the antenna doesn't count on that? Because they're saying 129.
I do think that there's a nuance in the ordinance, and I'll try to find it
Okay.
really quick, that does not apply.
Oh, yeah, so Verizon will be the applicant for this ultimately, is that right? That's what the,
The applicant will technically be the Towers LLC,
Uh-huh.
which is a combined business interest of Verizon and a tower company called Vertical Bridge.
Uh-huh.
Verizon is the entity driving this request, and they will be the anchor tenant at the top of the tower.
yeah, okay. Let's see, well, I tell you, before I ask that question, let me go to.
Supervisor Yao?
Yes, sir.
If there, let's say, in the ordinance, the lightning rods are excluded from the height calculation.
Excluded, okay. All right, so, if you would go to 14-13-7, Alan,
All right.
both of those things, both A and B. No new or mitigated freestanding wireless facilities shall be permitted unless the applicant demonstrates that no existing wireless facility can accommodate or is suitable as to design or location. That's a little more speculative than B. In any R1, R2, or R3 zoning district, new freestanding wireless facilities shall only be permitted on lots whose principal use is not single-family residential. God, I hate when stuff is written like that, it confuses me. Whose principal use is not single-family residence. Well, this is only 1.7 acres, and it's zoned R1, so it is for single-family use, residential. Well, what am I missing?
The fact that there's no residence on it now, so it does not currently have that principal use. So I would say that the way I interpreted that when I read it, and let's say we can unpack this as much as you like, of course, was that if there was an existing home on the site and that became its principal use, then you could not add a tower to go along with that. But since the land is vacant, I did not see that as a rub.
So we put a tower on it, and now we will not be able to use it, we'll not be able to put a house on it.
Correct. I suspect that with the size of this site anyway, you would not be able to get out of the fall area of the tower, so I don't think that it would be allowed to have a house anyway.
Okay. All right, yeah, that was my next question was, I mean, I went down, I saw the site plan, but it looks like it's kind of tucked in a corner. Does that meet the fall radius requirement?
At this time, it looks like it will have to get relocated to the east a little bit, and possibly slightly south, but we can, unless I have missed something in the way the tower is designed, because I know the breakpoints do make a difference, but when we looked at it this morning, I think we had, what was it, Jamie? 84, 86 feet, something like that we needed, and we had 78, but it looked like there was capacity to shift it and make it work.
So it'll meet the fall radius all the way around it in some fashion on that 1.7 acres.
The way I've looked at it, it looks like that's completely feasible
Okay.
to make that happen.
All right,
Vice Chairman, yeah.
yes,
I
sir.
did look, I went on VDOT's website. It looks like as of 2022, 17,000 average daily trips.
17.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was just, so the very first thing in our ordinance, the ordinance, 14.13.1, A. Well, A, B, C, D, and E. F is okay, but minimize the total number of freestanding antenna support structures throughout the county by maximizing the use of existing support structures. Strongly encourage the joint use of new and existing sites, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's pretty obvious from my line of questioning. I don't want to see another tower, but, I need to be convinced that this is needed. So that's why.
All right. Guess, let's say, to the applicant, you have any responses or anything that you would like to add to rebut?
How would we prove that we need the capacity?
That's-
Start there.
Right, I understand the question. That's a great question. That's probably something I would take back to Verizon and ask what kind of information we can provide to demonstrate the need and why those existing facilities, A, are overloaded, and then B, that the existing one that you're not co-located on wouldn't serve.
Suffice.
Yes, sir, right, it wouldn't serve the purpose. I can certainly get more information to provide to you.
Yeah, also find out, I mean, like I say, I've had Verizon for years, for 20 years. If I try to make a call, and the tower, the current towers couldn't work me in or whatever, or complete that, what would I get? Would I get a quick busy signal? Would I get a unable to complete call? I wanna know, I'd like to know what that is.
Sure, it could.
It's never happened, so I just want.
It could be one of those things. It may just say unable to complete call. It may look like a dropped call if you're driving your car. And then particularly with streaming data, it's gonna be much slower speeds. It's basically just kind of an across the board decline in service quality.
True, I'm sorry. I was just thinking about phone calls as opposed to data streaming, yeah. I could see
Sure.
that.
Yeah, and so increasingly, everything is data now, and so the system now is voice over LTE. They've actually taken the older technology out of the network, the 3G and previous technologies, and so increasingly voice is data. It's all
Yeah,
data stream.
okay. And so one other thing, I guess, what is it, oh, maybe said, what triggered this need to explore this and go this route? What?
Verizon's radio engineers have documented overloaded capacity on the surrounding towers.
Okay.
They aren't performing as good as they should be. And then the service here in town and in the stretch of 29 is also somewhat below their standards.
Yeah.
So it's driven by the data that the radio engineers have collected.
Okay. Brian, you answered some of my question the other day, but I guess for the benefit of everybody else in this room and me again, would you explain to me again?
Yeah,
why?
the way I've always understood cell phone, and I am nowhere near an expert on it, is think about an umbrella.
Yeah.
If you have a tower, puts an umbrella up over top of it, and it comes out in an arc fashion. If the towers are too far apart, you end up with a gap. If they're too close together, you end up with an overlap. The goal of cell phone coverage is to have those umbrella tips hit at sequential points, so where that you have daisy chain service throughout the
You
network.
want an overlap of
A very small overlap. What I deal with primarily is land mobile radio or LMR. It's a very different technology, very different signal cast, if you will.
Okay.
It sounds like basically what you're describing, it's a bandwidth problem rather than a coverage problem. The existing towers have maxed out on their bandwidth capabilities.
Yes, sir,
with this
that's,
okay.
that's accurate. Yes, sir, it's a capacity issue.
So what you're looking for is to be able to increase the bandwidth so that you don't have to either drop service or slow service down, especially the data service.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I have a question on coverage, piggybacking with Steve. What is the coverage zone of this new tower? I mean, I'm actually in an area where I only have one bar on a good day. Are we talking this can reach over the mountains at this height, or is this purely going to be in the little valley here where the town sits?
The coverage objective is the town, but for each base station, like each of these facilities, we typically say that the coverage will be improved in a radius of 2 to 5 miles out from the center, depending on topography and obstructions and other factors.
And is that because it's eliminating some of the bandwidth that Steve mentioned on the other towers, and so it's freeing it up for maybe us in the rural areas to get that? or
Yes,
is
it will improve it will improve the service from the existing facilities by offloading traffic from them.
And so we can say that anyone in the county that's within 2 to 5 miles will have some beneficial impact of coverage?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
The second one is, hypothetical here, but let's say the county and the town of Madison continues to grow in numbers of residents and maybe even events. What is the impact to the current towers if, let's say, we do have some growth in the future? Are we going to have loss of coverage if there's sizable growth, or could it sustain without this new tower?
Well, being that they're already somewhat overloaded, I would say that further growth is going to put further strain on the existing facilities. Is that?
If that's your opinion, yeah, then that answers it. My other questions I had, I think you answered. So it is a monopole, so there won't be the ugly cables, and I'm saying ugly because I think Hardy and I mean, these are ugly. But it will just be the monopole that will be concealed to some degree by the canopy that's already there?
Yes, that's correct. It's a single pole, no guys. It's not the lattice steel structure, just a single
Okay.
monopole.
See, and I had one more. Oh, and then, again, looking at the ordinance, because the by right is 100 feet, what determined 125 versus, something that's under 100 feet?
That was the the antenna center line that was given to us by the radio engineers. So I think they studied the surrounding area and found that height was going to meet their coverage objective and also, be approvable by the county. I believe there's a hard limit of 150 feet.
In this district, it's 125 feet, so it was engineered to the maximum that our
Okay.
ordinance allows. Yes.
Thank you.
That's what I had, thank you, yeah.
Is this going to continue to use 4G technology, or are you not planning on moving to 5G technology?
This will be a 5G.
Oh, it's a 5G.
Yes, sir, it'll be the latest technology.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, 5G typically has a shorter range anyway than the older 4G.
I apologize, I'm not a radio engineer, I'm not
Okay,
sure I
okay.
can answer that confidently.
That, basically, that's one of the reasons that 5G typically is in urban areas right now rather than rural areas, so, okay. So it
being-
is intended eventually to be to 5G.
It will be 5G initially. It'll support all of Verizon's technologies.
I have a question for Mr. Nichols. Will the zoning stay R1 on this? Is it fall under a special use permit? What do we have to do there?
This is a special use permit allowable in all districts, unless I'm misspeaking. It's definitely allowed in all of the R districts.
Okay.
The changes between each district are maximum allowable height requirements, I believe, if memory serves. But yes, this is a special use permit in this district. No rezoning is required.
Yeah, it's a little odd, Alan. I was looking at that. If you go to the R1 zone under special use permits, you don't see it. But you come to this, the 14-13, and then it references that it is allowable. I think it's a little odd.
We have a number of things that are in our catch-all of Article 14,
That's
yes.
fine.
So,
And before I forget it, under 14-13-3,
okay,
the very first sentence references sections 14-3-6. That should be 14-13-6, because 14-3-6 doesn't exist.
all right.
So just for cleanup, I just had to say that right. I hate to take up everybody's time, but if I don't say it now.
We'll put it under the, we'll put it in front of the board for an amendment, no problem.
They'll get you back. I actually have one question on 1413-6, technical review. And again, I think we've all, when we've spoken today, have said we're no experts, including yourself, on all the technicalities of this because it's a very complex situation. What percentage of these from other town halls and other meetings go to technical review by the county, if you're able to say?
Could you explain technical review? What is?
The county by right has the option to require a technical review from an expert, a third-party expert on some of the technicalities of this.
And now, like a
A third-party expert, yeah.
consultant.
There you go, consultant.
Maybe a quarter of the jurisdictions I deal with. I have been working in Lisa County recently, and they use the services of an outside consultant to review. I'm going to Augusta for another project, and they also use an outside consultant. But overall, I would say most jurisdictions do not.
Okay. And then my last one, Alan, 48-26, it looks like it does have an existing home structure.
With the adjacent parcel to the south?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How does that play out with the resident there with a tower? I mean, I'm
I
guessing
mean-
they have an opinion, but
That home appears to be a rental because the address for that one is in Culpeper.
That's
Of
right.
the ownership. But, we can send a letter to that address too, and they can voice their concerns, the same as anybody else for a special use permit. It
And-
does not appear to be within the fall
Fall,
area,
okay.
the fall path, but
That's right.
they, the applicant can certainly demonstrate that as a part of their submission.
and that's how I should have worded the question. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
And if I may, the house is 403 feet southwest of our home.
The break zone's at 50, is that what?
It's 40 feet below the top
40
is
feet
where
below
the break point is on this one.
So the break point is 40 feet down, so we got 85-foot fall, if something were to happen.
85 feet would stay upright, and the fall zone would be, I believe, 40 feet or 45 feet.
Yeah, but if, for whatever catastrophic reason, the whole tower, if the break point went and then the remainder of the tower went, that's 85 feet, correct?
Yes, sir, that's
Yeah.
the full height.
What I was looking at was the site plan, you're about 71 feet from the right-of-way, that frontage, I think it's called Frontage Road or something like that.
Yes. Yes, we are 71 foot 2 inches.
Yeah, so if something were catastrophic to happen, it could fall within that right of way.
It's
Potentially.
Potentially, it's
Yeah.
designed not to, but it is possible.
I guess, Jamie, you'd follow that one, since we do have stakeholders in the room. VDOT, anyone, I guess, concerned on just the diagrams and the schematics of this, being that it is near a main highway?
So we don't want to see it fall across the right-of-way line, even though it is a dead-end road. So I know the county's gonna want you to readjust it, so if we can make the fall line so it falls within the site, all four lines, it would be beneficial. And, I'm gonna move on to the entrance, and, since this is a infrastructure plan, it just require a private entrance, but it would need a temporary construction entrance for the construction. Because the construction is when you're gonna have all your heavy vehicles, and then once it gets to that point, it probably won't be visited once a month. So,
That's right.
they'll just narrow it back down to a private entrance, and it'd be just fine,
Okay,
okay?
Thank you.
And when they do start, the site plan will probably have to come through our office, but when it does, they'll have to, when they go to construction, they'll have to come see us for an entrance permit, that's all.
okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Since we're at stakeholders, I'm guessing there's no well or septic with this, there's no on-site bathroom facility, it's just the
Correct.
tower? Okay,
It being unmanned, it will have no utilities, no water, or anything like that.
okay. Emily, anything that y'all see on these?
I would just say if, if there ever was, I don't know if there ever was a house there, maybe we could look up records to see if there was an old well or septic system. If that was the case, we would just, it'd be beneficial if we could just properly abandon those non-infrastructure. But it doesn't sound like anything's there, but we can look to make sure.
We do use a environmental consultant who investigates the site for things like that, and we will provide their findings.
Oh, I'm sorry, two more small things. I think as far as the fall zone requirements, if you could get permission from adjacent landowners to give permission for that to fall on them, if we had to go that route. Number one, right? If you needed to.
I'm
It's
sure
a
that,
pain in the butt.
I'm sure there's options to pursue an easement if you had to.
All right, and then the last thing, Mr. Squire, the reason, I should have referenced when I asked the question about getting the information from Verizon, because if you look at, if you would go to 14.13.6A,
I've got the same one in front of me.
yeah. 14.13.6A. Two, Roman numeral 2, D, as in dog. If the county determines that the proposed additional service coverage or capacity to be achieved by a proposed new site can be achieved by use of one or more existing sites, it may disapprove the proposed application. That's what inspired my question to
Okay.
you. So I just wanted to show you in the ordinance where that was.
Understood. Thank you for pointing that out.
I will shut up.
All right, so, based on our conversation this morning, it would seem that in the packet in front of you is at 14-13-10 are the submission requirements that'll be for this application, and we can go over this offline too. We'll make sure that you're checking all the boxes as a part of your application. But of special interest will be item B6, which is the written statement by an engineer that addresses all the technical data that says that why this is necessary. And so I think that we're going to want to see a lot of the detailed information as to why we need it before we add a new tower. So I think that that responsibility will be on you as the applicant to put that in front of us to demonstrate the need for that. So, and then we'll go over all the the items required, including the scheduled balloon test and the advertising requirements for that. That'll be necessary as well, should you want to proceed.
Okay, so we'll discuss the balloon test offline.
Yeah, That's,
how to prepare for
yeah,
that.
that's fine. We're just going to go down, there's no secrets here. We're just going to go down the list of the submission requirements and make sure we're checking all the boxes prior to submitting your application, or at least have those things scheduled for when we're going to see those. So the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors can make an informed decision.
Great.
I have a question. It may dovetail off yours. I'm looking at the ordinance. I don't know if I'll do it as eloquent as Supervisor Yao. 14-13-6, paragraph A, subsection, sound like an attorney, subsection 4, paragraph A. And that paragraph starts as, due to the complexity of the methodology or analysis required to review an application for a wireless communication facility, the county may require the applicant to pay for a technical review by a third party, the cost of which shall be borne by the applicant in addition to other applicable fees not to exceed 2.5 times the amount of the applicable zoning application. I think we may, in some roundabout way, we were asking how applications and stuff go to other localities. Is it Verizon's position where they normally provide a third-party analysis? Or are you seeing localities requiring that of Verizon, for, at least for the applications that you have represented?
It's usually the jurisdiction's choice whether to use an outside consultant. Verizon does not typically provide that. It's usually, the technical information is developed by their own engineers, so they don't use an outside consultant.
Okay, because when we get to sticking in the same subsection 4, when you get to paragraph C, if we're not going that route, it looks like a supplemental review. We're still going to check off the box for items 1 through 5. Okay, I just wanted to say that also for the good of the group.
I guess I have one final question. Hopefully it's pertinent. This is pretty close to the school. Have these ever had like any secondary applications that are good for education? And I don't know if that's just increased broadband or is Verizon providing, do we have free broadband at the school right now and everything as well? Or is there a pro bono, I guess, I'll just say it, benefit that Verizon can provide to the school since it's right here? Or is anything like that happened in the past, just given the proximity to our education center?
The service is available for use by students, of course, if they're Verizon customers. But most jurisdictions that I've experienced, that I have worked in, don't have, as far as I'm aware, they're not really using systems like that.
Okay.
If you mean like a county-operated broadband
Yeah.
service.
Probably where I'm getting at, yeah, something that.
Does Madison County have something like that?
We do? Okay. It may have been a moot point then.
Yeah, the schools are serviced by Segra.
Okay, okay.
I think he was just looking to see if you had any existing educational grants or applications is what we were asking about.
We have facilities that are on school properties, but as far as like a service that is on the facility that's specifically educational, I'm not aware of something like that.
Okay.
I'm done.
Just a comment here. Most of our ordinance is based on coverage, and your application is based on bandwidth needs. So I would suggest when you do the actual application that you really focus in on that and explain why we need to consider that. Because the coverage is obviously already there. And that's what most of our ordinance is based on.
Okay, yes, sir, understood. We will make sure to fully address that in our narrative and in our application.
So for the committee, I have one. How would you like me to approach the application fee with our applicant today? Because the standard fee is $1,500 for a wireless communications facilities with the option to pay for a consultant. At what point will a decision be made on whether or not we would like a consultant?
planning commission, assuming that we send it to the planning commission. Planning commission, either they would be satisfied with Verizon's data or not. Who do you think, Steve?
That's the logical place to do that.
So I would think then the first workshop, the planning commission would make that determination perhaps.
That sounds good to me.
What do you think?
Right,
It does.
absolutely. I mean, they're the ones that are gonna be diving into the meat
Right.
of it.
And so, Mr. Nichols, today, if approval is sought by the committee, it would be with the contingency that data provided by Verizon that meets
I would just,
14.3.
I would suggest that, should we recommend that they go forth to the planning commission on this one, that they do so once they have prepared all of the submission requirements in accordance with 14-13-10, which just outlines outlines everything they have to do to get the appropriate information in front of the planning commission. I just don't want to see it go and not have the complete information in front of us.
I heard a motion. Is it seconded?
Second.
All
I just
right.
so moved on his wording.
Very good.
And we will put that for the record. All those in favor?
Can I, Mr. Chairman, can I have a discussion?
Oh, you
Point of
may,
privilege
you
on
may.
discussion. Just, these WCFs don't come around too often. I can remember Butch Davies, former attorney, usually brought all these to Madison County. When the one went up on Zeus, the question was asked, I forget what commissioner or board of supervisors, all right, are all Verizon assets in Madison live, meaning active? And at that time, the question was, well, if we're looking to give you the Gibson property, which is Zeus, will you light up Radiant Tower? Because we knew at that time that tower was not active. So this is just a discussion and a topic that I will pass on. The planning commission chair is here. But I would like to know if all Verizon's assets, meaning tower sites in Madison, are currently active. Because we like to make sure they are, as they are considering new ones. That was a positive effect for Radiant. I'm sure that tower is still lit, hopefully. But I do want to put that in as food for thought as you move forward.
Okay, as far as I know, they are all active. I'm happy to investigate any particular site that you might have concerns about.
Yeah, because it's hard to get interest off 29. So, but that's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. And I'll actually read this one out if I get it right now, and correct me if I'm wrong. The motion has been made and seconded to propose that this application go to the planning commission once all requirements of 14-13-10 have been submitted to Alan and organized for the planning commission.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Even though I think everybody's spoken, should we ask, we open the floor for public comment?
We should. Is there any public comment before we finalize the motion? The lawyer's happy as well. That's a good sign. Okay. All right. Well, you've heard the motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, and we will get that information that was discussed today.
We'll schedule a time for a phone call coming up, and we'll go over all the things here, and we'll make the game plan to get you in front of the planning commission as soon as possible.
Okay, that's great.
Yep.
Okay, should we adjourn now?
No, I think you're up, aren't you?
I am now going to recuse myself and hand the meeting over to the co-chair, so. I'm pretty roasted this week.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your time, I appreciate it.
All right, so moving on to the next case. Case number to be determined, Rooted Land Company LLC for a special use permit. Zachary Whitman has submitted an exploratory application for an event venue on property identified as Madison County Tax Map 37-11 and 37-7C in accordance with Madison County Zoning Ordinance 14-18. The total size of the two parcels is 257 acres. 37-11 is split zoned C1, A1, and 3773 is zoned A1. Mr. Whitman, would you like to tell us what you're doing?
All right, we can hear me now. Yeah, thank you, Alan, and thank you everyone on the committee. I think as everyone's aware, there is currently an operating short-term rental retreat business on the property. I currently have 4 short-term rentals and then my private residence. I guess I came through for the original SUP a couple of years ago. Honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. And so from a standpoint of, was this going to work? It was during COVID. And thankfully, the business has proven to be successful and is looking to expand. One, the county has been open for agritourism expansion, and we're just really excited to be a part of it. What I've noticed is that most of my guests in the area, while they enjoy just the short-term rental, they also want some type of event venue. I've probably turned down at least 80 requests for either elopements or wedding events on the property, which could bring in more revenue to the county, more guests, and just kind of spread the wealth in terms of vacation rental income. However, I am in an area that is very residential, and I have very good relationships with my neighbors in the community, so I don't want this to be a large event. I mean, even less than Renback, not a Crestway by any means. So I'm calling it a boutique event and short-term rental retreat. And again, with the core concept of agritourism and nature is kind of our core goal. Currently have chicken coops, flower gardens where guests can cut flowers, vegetable gardens, and guests really get to come out and experience homesteading, farm life, and it's been a hit. I will say too, I think the reputation, having done one of these SUPs in a public hearing already, people were very skeptical and nervous about what short-term rentals would do to the area and what kind of guests we'd get. 99.9% of my guests have been amazing. I have a 5-star review with over, I think, 565 reviews now, all 5 stars. So, I'm taking pride in what I do and want to make sure that we are bringing in the best tourists and guests to Madison County. And with that said, just want to expand. One, I mean, it's a business, and I do need to enhance my revenue to keep this dream going. And secondly, there's demand to it. So I'm really responding to what my customers are saying and what some of the members of the county are saying. I have worked with local wineries, partnership with them, Yoder's, of course. I think every one of my guests goes to Yoder's, and they love it. So just continue to bring that traffic into the county. I guess I can quickly go over what I'm hoping to achieve and what I'm proposing. Again, I'll caveat it too, but there are 4 existing deeded entrances, and Mr. Wynn's already been out to the property. We've gone through some VDOT concerns and some items. So whenever I spoke with Alan and put this together as a new SUP, I was thinking about subdividing and then doing individual parcels, which have the by right for the short-term rental on each one. And Mr. Nichols, talked me into, and I think rightfully so, guided me in the direction that SUP application would make more sense, and then given that Madison has the event, SUP would probably encompass everything that I'm trying to achieve. So personally, then I'm trying to limit it from being something that's gaudy and maybe received negatively by some of the neighbors. So no more than 16 short-term rentals is what I'm requesting. What I have learned is I did pigeonhole myself in the first SUP by saying the specific structure type that was requested and the location on the parcels, which has given me a little bit of issues now with building permits. So I would like the flexibility to have it either be a stick-built, a modular, park model tiny home, or even a glamping tent unit. But again, no more than 16 throughout the 357 acres. And then in terms of the event, this one is probably the one that, knowing public concern, traffic, and large size, noise, all the things that all of the events always hear, just 2 event places on the farm. And one would be a covered bridge. If anyone's been to the property, I have a pretty rickety old bridge that has to be replaced pretty soon anyway. And the concept that I'm coming up with this is if I have to replace the bridge, and they're not cheap, can I do something with placing the bridge that actually can bring me revenue? And I visited a lady in New Hampshire that does a bridge. And actually, Alan, if you want to scroll to the first picture, that's her venue. And the same thing, this is a refurbished bridge. She ran into the same issue. She had to have a new bridge, and they're not expensive. And she said, well, maybe I can make money if I do events on the bridge, which will help cover the mortgage on the structure itself. And they do just, this bridge, I think is 78 feet. Mine would only be 48 feet, so it's much smaller. I think she can do events up to 60 on hers. I'm estimating no more than 30 ever, and that's including catering staff. I do see amplified sound down there, so I should probably remove that picture for the public hearing. But you kind of get the idea of what that event would look like. Wedding photos, graduation photos, maybe small elopements, things like that on the bridge. And then Tracy and I have talked a couple times, the bridges of Madison County, the old movie, I think it would be a good, place to have. We don't have a covered bridge, and actually there's not one in the surrounding 7 counties. So it would be a unique marketing tool for the county and the region. And, we can paint Madison on it, along with Root Atlantic. I mean, we can do some fun things with it, should we go this route. The other event location, if you want to scroll down one more, please, Alan. A barn home. And what I've kind of learned with the short-term rentals and SUPs is making it dual purpose makes things a little easier. So this is actually a home with a pavilion. And, that way it serves as a structure. And let's just say in case this business doesn't work and it dissolves, and there's actually a home there so it can be used as a home down the road. But then dual purpose. So you have the short-term rental, the bride can stay, the CEO can stay, the yoga instructor can stay, and then a very small pavilion where you can do outside events. I would probably have it more like the one on the right with glass enclosure so I can try to do year-round events. But again, trying to keep the agritourism, the agriculture, and the kind of the aesthetic of Madison County in both venues. On this one, and again, I'm trying to avoid putting specific numbers, but no more than 50, 60 guests. I mean, I do want these to be boutique, mainly from my capacity and my ability as managing everything on the farm, but also, to keep traffic down and to meet probably some of the limitations that Mr. Wynn and I have spoken about. And then again, the main goal is to have, the 16 guests, so the 16 homes, so 32 guests, at the time, book the entire place. And so family reunions, CEO events, and everyone's on site. So there's hopefully not a lot of traffic coming in and out. It's kind of a one-stop shop for my guests. That's pretty much the overview of the infrastructure and kind of the idea. So I'll turn it back now to you guys. Here's the hot seat.
Hey, Zach, I mean, you're proposing a new SUP. Don't you have more than 2 parcels out there?
There are 3 parcels total. And in fact, let's see,
Maybe you want to consider including all 3? So we don't do an issue down the road again? I mean, it's just a thought. I mean, because you mentioned 2 specific parcels, but I thought you had 3.
It's a good catch. The reason why I initially didn't is that last parcel could be converted into conservation, both with one of the Virginia Wildlife, but I'll make that note, Alan, and I'll probably come talk
That's
to you
just
about it.
a thought for you, so.
It's a
We can
good thought.
discuss the pros and cons in that for you to make a decision, but
Perfect.
sure.
Thanks, Jamie.
So Zach, this whole application would be, you would abandon the current SUP contingent upon approval of this event SUP. Is that your plan?
Mr. Yao, I'm probably gonna hire an attorney on this one as well, just for some of the things I learned the last time, but per the guidance, yes, right now that would be
The way-
most likely the route to take. And I think that's the correct guidance, right, Mr. Nichols?
And of course, here's one of your questions that you were sitting up here. So you've talked to the neighbors.
I have not yet. It's on my list following today's meeting, because it is always my first question as well. I will say this was expedited a little bit, given the building permit. Yes, it's been expedited a little bit on my side, but I'll do exactly what I did last time. And Phil Sterling has a mailing list for the entire neighborhood. I'll put up a website that's just specific for it'll have all the details. It'll be public through the planning commission, and then I'll of course host another cupcake and an iced tea event where all the neighbors can come and tell me what they think.
Yeah, well, last go around, there was some pushback. Now that they have had, how long? 2 years, 3 years?
Two years with the full
to see-
4
right.
and 5 years with the 1.
To see how that's worked, I'm hoping that, pushed back as before, although it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping as well. And the other thing I will say, you know, there have been some homes that have been built there, and I think some of the concerns with light pollution and traffic, I think people will realize I mitigated that probably better than some of the new homes that are there. So there's some feedback points there that I think everyone will realize. And again, I'm a neighbor first, and I'm a Madison citizen first, and business person second. So I want to make sure that I do. I mean, nobody wants to have a neighbor that that people don't enjoy. So I do take their feedback very, very seriously.
So then my last thing was, I did not realize you had 4 entrances, so I'd like to hear from Mr. Nguyen whenever because right where the bridge is right now, the line of sight isn't the greatest right there.
It is correct.
So I don't know where the other 3 entrances are, but I look forward to hearing from you and Mr. Nguyen on that one.
That was actually, Supervisor Yao, one of my questions was, you got a beautiful place. I've had the privilege to be out on the property. You and I talked kind of about the things you could have on this property. I threw out something like a Six Sigma type of retreat that you occasionally have. But knowing on that map where your 4 points of access, Zach, would be important. Brian and I, we always have public safety on our mind, so I'm not sure. I love the covered bridge concept first and foremost. Would that go where the current entrance is? We're just thinking about, like, if emergency response had to show up, is there another easement that they would use to access your property for that purpose?
Correct. Do we have the laser pointer? Is it? No?
Out of battery.
Oh, okay.
What would you like to point out?
If you go to the one with the, yeah, okay, here we go. So the primary entrance is the one that Mr. Nguyen and I have walked through. Like I said, it has the existing bridge. It does, you can see if you even zoom in a little bit more, there is a temporary 5-year permitted low water crossing. I'm currently working with Hinchy and Baines to convert that to a permanent low water crossing. So that would be the primary entrance to come across a 2-lane low water crossing through the river. The bridge will be built to the SH10, 20, you know what it is? The weight standard, 20. It'll hold 30,000 pounds, I can just put it that way, in layman's terms. So vehicular traffic can come through during high water times, and then I can still use that for emergency traffic on normal flow times, septic trucks, concrete trucks, things like that. The other deeded entrance, so if we just want to go over the 4, if you, I'm sorry, I'll zoom back in. Right along that dotted line, the property line, it is an easement through the other neighbors. They'll go northbound up right along that line and along the river. There is an easement through the Elias, as the neighbors there, that goes to a low water crossing that's on the top of the property. It would be vehicular traffic at this point only, not emergency services. However, we just repaired, and this was, I believe it was proffer 3 in the packet, that we built a non-river emergency access point to an existing, and it's a farm road access only. The deed reads it as agriculture and farm use only, but it's back when it connects to Berry Mountain Road. So if you go down, Alan, right there on 3711C, if you zoom in, there, that cul-de-sac where his red dotted line starts, you can zoom in a little bit more, you'll see, yeah, right there. So, and it was just completed, but there's a road now that connects directly to that cul-de-sac into the back of the property. And then continuing down that farm road there on toward 46 to the, move your cursor to the right, Berry Mountain Route 669, that dead ends into my property. So that's the other one. As of right now, I don't have any plans to put anything back here because it's pretty mountainous. And there's, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But so most of the traffic would be up front. But when I say the 4, there is an existing road that I could take where your cursor is and move it back to the front side too, just to have another access point that is deeded and connects to a state road.
You've had good feedback or good communication with those on Berry Mountain Road?
I have so far, yes.
Okay.
Ms. Shiflett was the one who the easements through, and it was actually very pleasant and
Okay.
very pleasant actually. So, yeah. And I know all the neighbors on the backside, minus a couple here, but very good relationship with all these neighbors.
Okay.
I will say the interest and excitement about a covered bridge here is beyond. Even in the days of Google and the internet, if somebody comes in the visitor center with a British accent, they are 100% going to ask where the covered bridges are every single time. And I cringe. Still try to keep them in town. In fact, exhausted all resources trying to figure out a grant.
Yeah.
Before he even asked, I was years ago, not even with the location, trying to figure out a way. So yes.
Yeah, I think
Huge
it'll
draw.
be a plus for the marketing.
Well, along those lines, Tracy, I think Los Brothers up there ought to turn that little sitting area out front into Madison's Square Garden. 'Cause it's square.
Oh, another tidbit that you might hear again tomorrow night. So we are, 322 square miles? We have over 300 unique rentals. So we basically have a rental for every square mile. So we are already a tourism zone, in my opinion. It's our niche.
Zach, you've got, Alan, can you show this one again?
Yes, sir.
Can you just go through one of those is the covered bridge, I assume, but kind of point out what each of those represents?
And this is very rough, and depending on
Yeah.
the day goes, I'll definitely do a better job on giving you all some more concrete data and specifics. But, yeah, the two orange ones are the event centers, so that one is the covered bridge, and then that would be the barn, pavilion, home. I will say where Alan's cursor is, there's an existing tiny home there. What I would do is remove it and then build, and a lot of that is floodplain, because that's gonna get into planning commission for sure too. There are 3 or 4 spots that are out of the floodplain there, and that is one. It's kind of a knoll that comes up, and it's got the best view of the valley. So that would be, kind of, I guess, the moneymaker for putting the event venue. The blue, again, I just kind of gave it a wide swath, trying not to pigeonhole myself in exactly where they'd be, and some of this is gonna be on perks. And I want to say, what I've done with all the existing tiny homes, each one's on its own dedicated well and septic. One thing I did learn is, with our rainfall this year, some of the pads have been requiring some shimming here and there, so all the new pads for any tiny homes or park models, is that what you want me to call them, Jamie? Park models, will be on concrete pads and then again tied into their own individual septic system. I don't plan on doing like pods where you put 3 or 4 together, because my guest feedback is they don't like that. They like the privacy and they like to be alone in nature. But again, financials may determine that, and then perking, because we can put multiple modulars, park modules on a septic. So that's kind of indicated in the blue area of where the ideal and most logical STR building sites are. And then agriculture, like I said, I have the existing garden, chicken coop, and flower cut garden. My goal is to build some type of small barn to have a bloom bar. Those are really popular now, especially with brides. You have 3 or 4 acres that's cultivated into cut flowers, and you have this very small, 300 or 400 square foot barn that has a packing cooler in it, and then the ladies come up and drink wine. Everyone can come up and drink wine, but specifically marketed toward brides. And then they can build bouquets and even service their own wedding with produce and flowers from the farm itself. So, and on the agritourism side, I currently sell my eggs at 3 Springs, and there are a couple of other agritourism or agricultural business in the county that approach me to kind of do the all-inclusive. So sell their beef there to weddings and make it more of a county agricultural draw, which, I mean, that's maybe not quite community CSA, community supported agriculture, but as close to that as we can get would be a dream as well.
That would be called indirect traveler spending, which accounts for an extra 10 million in our total traveler spending, by the
There
way.
we go.
And the covered bridge is going to be, it's not the same location as your low water crossing. It's going to be
Very close.
close, but not.
They'll tie into the same VDOT entrance, but one veers to the right, and then the other one will go straight down. And part of the reason with the low water crossing being straight is, I mean, we all know that it's no secret. It's not that, but the entrance is going to be the tricky part. But having the entrance go straight down eliminates kind of a hairpin turn that you have to make into the current bridge. So that should alleviate it, we'll be able to widen it, and it gives us a little bit more fluidity coming into the entrance, so. But they will be two different crossings on the river.
So Zach, other than the bridge, you gonna try and keep everything else out of the floodplains out there?
Depending, an agricultural building potentially may need to go down there, but it would be one that, I mean, I know that you have to have the knockout walls, something that we're, you know,
Yeah, I'm just
aesthetics
saying
aren't
for
quite
your
as
sake,
important.
building outside the floodplain's easier than building inside, but you still can build inside if you
More
choose.
money and,
Just-
yeah, the
yeah,
risk, yeah.
It's your money.
Yeah, exactly, so it probably, I mean, the Bloom Bar would probably be the most economical building in case God sends another flood down the river, to lose, so. But nothing that would have human life in it, you know, other than, you know, working the 8 to 5 hours.
Further discussion? Stakeholders?
Health Department?
So I went out and reviewed some of these. There is a problem with sight distance for a commercial entrance for more than 30 vehicles a day, or more than 20 vehicles a day on the main entrance. But if he can establish stopping sight distance on Graves Mill and come out another way and make it flow through, it's a possibility. It's just, you know, the way he wants to work it. Now, the two entrances that are possible in the cul-de-sacs, they don't require sight distance, and that might be a better solution, but that's depending upon his plan on how he wants to proceed. So, that's about it.
So ingress and egress would be separate, is,
More than likely.
I see, okay.
Unless he wants to ingress and egress the whole thing from, was it Berry Mountain Road? Unless he wanted to ingress and egress from that, have a nice winding road through the woods to your spot, you know, that type of thing.
That's big money.
Yeah. But like I said, the stopping sight distance, he can come in, but he can't come out, because that's where the longer sight distance is involved in the exit. Clear mud.
I believe, and I was trying to find the email, but I believe when this SUP was being heard, the current one that exists, we had asked for, not directly through you, John, I can't remember who we sent that email to at PDOT, either Ligon or myself, but requesting a speed review and/or could signage. You see hidden entrance signs throughout the state, if there were options as well.
I mean, he can, really hire his own and have a traffic study done, if that's the case. But, as far as, I don't think VDOT's gonna do it for a single entrance.
Let me play devil advocate. Let's remove the commercial venue out of there. If I owned a piece of property, didn't have a home on it yet, it was in a blind curve, could a residential driveway be established and therefore have a hidden sign, or?
Yes.
Okay,
So a private entrance, we cannot deny, access to a private entrance. And it's one or two homes, or a home and a cell tower, or a home and a farm entrance, things of that nature, where there can be a shared.
low
entrance.
ADTs,
Yeah, so
essentially.
everything, 20 and below.
Okay,
From 21 to 50, it requires stopping sight distance, which he's talking about having 60 people there, so that's at least 25 cars. 30 cars or more, and that requires at least stopping sight distance. So being devil's advocate, it would more than likely be a commercial entrance, and he's gonna top that 50. But until I get real numbers of what it's gonna be, I have to go on the devil's advocate side.
yes, sir.
But, then once he hits 51, it's full commercial.
All right, so there's two different tiers, it sounds like there, but it is
Actually, there's
these.
three.
Okay.
There's no requirement, then there's from 21 to 50, that's a stopping sight distance, which is the shorter of the two. and measured differently. And then from 51 on up to infinity, it's the longer intersectional sight distance.
Would sight distance, the other component, I guess, in calculating or determining sight distance, speed limit plays a factor too, is that correct? Posted
It's
speed
based
limit?
off the speed limit,
Okay.
yeah. So it's usually the speed limit times 11 plus 5 is the intersectional sight distance.
Zach, I don't live out there. You by chance know the speed limit of that road?
Yeah, it's 55, and 45 stops, what, half a mile?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Okay.
right there at the Essex property when you come down my curve. It's 45 there.
You can almost see the sign from his entrance.
You can, you can actually see the back of the 45 sign.
Okay. Thank you.
Health Department?
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, Zach's gotten pretty good at, turning in those well and septic permits for the houses on his property. He's keeping our local well drillers and our local septic contractors, pretty busy. But yeah, Zach does a great job working with the health department, and he pretty much knows what to do at this point. He has his OSEs and everybody that's working with the wells and, proposed or existing septic systems. So that's the only way, what the health department would be involved with. Yeah.
Hey, Emily, I got a question. Would everything that Zach's proposing here fall under the local health department, or is Office of Drinking Water got to get involved?
I believe it would, as far as wells, I believe it's 25 people, but it's more than 60 days of a year. So I don't know if that would fall under, but we would have to look at that, once he's got a definite plan moving forward. And then with the wells, just have to keep an eye on the wells as far as how much yield they're producing as far as the water.
I mean, again, knowing the process now too, I'm skeptical to say this publicly, knowing that this could be recorded, but if 25 too is a magic number for everybody, and it meets the goals and there's wiggle room, of course, I have to work with what God gave me with entrances and what VDOT and Congress approved for the road at one point in time. So, that's definitely something. I didn't realize there was actually a digital code on that. So, everything's fluid at this point.
Further discussion? Public comment? Hearing none?
Zach, I just have one question. I looked at the Berry Mountain entrance. That looks like to be hard surface, but everything outside of that is low water crossing with the exception of that bridge. Is that correct?
The two Berry Mountain entrances, the one, and I'm going to be full disclosure here, the one that goes through Miss Shiflett's, I've made an agreement with her that it is egress only.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be in traffic with guests and anything, and it's going to be agriculture and emergency egress. The other Berry Mountain, like I said, it would create quite a cost for creating roads, but it is feasible to do so. And then the two that are coming off of 662 Gray's Mill, those both require low water crossing.
The only thing I'm thinking about is if you had a water emergency and then you had an event going on that bridge, which is very unlikely because nobody's gonna be sitting on that bridge if there's a water emergency. But I'm just thinking outside the box, what if type of thing.
And thinking through that, what I'll do for, just to give you a little bit more parking's always a big thing too. And although they're gonna be smaller footprint and hopefully traffic footprint, there will be a parking area somewhere, down in the floodplain gravelled. But then everything will, if there is a flood event, will go back to that Berry Mountain Road. And that one, even with the last recent floods, I mean, the 4-foot culvert gets maybe 6 inches of water. So it'll be safe throughout a catastrophic event. And that can serve as the emergency egress point for the entire farm at that point without water crossing.
Okay.
And two-wheel drive vehicles can make it on that one. The other one's probably gonna be a little bit more fun.
Yeah. Some of our fire apparatus, the tanker, for instance, is right at 65,000 pounds.
You see,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, so that's just thinking outside the box as far,
Yeah.
God forbid we ever need to get that thing in there.
And if it's flood event, the Berry Mountain Road, new access road will handle that for sure. I mean, we're going up and out with gravel trucks, re-graveling it, so. And then the low water crossing, once Hinchy Main's finished their diagram, 100,000 pounds plus is what he's designing it for, so.
Okay,
We should be able to take a tanker if we need to.
sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, I move that we advance this to the planning commission.
Second.
All right. Motion and second to advance to the planning commission. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Zach, would you like to resume your seat?
Trace, you keeping notes back there? Well, I guess I should have said the Rooted Land Company application instead of this.
I've been
That was
called,
implied.
Yeah.
I've been called worse in the county, Cardy, so it's all right. Okay, back to the agenda. Any other items or public comment that we should discuss today? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn for the day. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, everybody.
All right,